First, a bit of good news. The American journalist, Kuwaiti American journalist, who was detained by the Kuwaitis for at least 6 weeks, is now free, has left Kuwait, and apparently the CPJ, the Center to Protect Journalists, says that he's in a safe place. So America's allies detained an American journalist for 5 to 6 weeks without any habeas corpus rights, just disappeared him, apparently for reporting on the attacks on Kuwait or filming them. So there is that. Then America's other ally, the bosom buddy Israel, murdered Amal Khalil in Lebanon, hunted her down, and murdered her. Severely injured the second journalist, Zainab, who is absolutely battered and is hospitalized right now. The same bosom buddy also assassinated Shireen Abu Akleh in the West Bank, as she was reporting, clearly marked with a vest, but they shot her through the head because she was reporting the truth. And they basically assassinated her. Then they killed hundreds of journalists in Gaza, hundreds, and at least 15 more have been murdered in Lebanon. This is not conjecture, it's actually factual. Journalists with clearly marked vests and clearly marked cars were sent threatening messages in Gaza, and then they were hunted down, hunted and murdered. Western media, BBC, Sky News, CNN, MS Now, used to be MSNBC, remained silent. And if they didn't remain silent, they actually supported it. They supported the murders. They kept on vitiating the environment, muddying the waters by, saying things like, Israel says, Israel spokesman says. And what did they say? These were Hamas, these were Hezbollah, we're investigating. Our troops were threatened, they were moving towards our lines, they crossed the line. And tonight, these same journalists, especially the ones who are so close to the White House, are going to be dining and celebrating and yucking it up with the President of the United States. Yes, this is what they're going to be doing. The same man who said these are the enemies of the people, who wanted to do exactly what Orban has done, is having all his oligarch friends buy up the media, just buy it all up. That's who they're going to be yucking it up with. So we will wait to see what horrors come out from this tonight. But the good news is that Ahmed Shihab el-Din is out of Kuwait, out of the clutches of America's great ally in the Middle East. So what else is happening today? Well, we still don't know if Jared Kushner and Witkoff are actually on a plane to Pakistan. We do know that Mr. Arakshi arrived, the foreign minister of Iran arrived in Pakistan last night and had meetings with Shehbaz Sharif, the prime minister, Asim Munir, the field marshal, and so on and so forth, all the major players in Pakistan. And what we know is that he has again delivered Iran's 10 points and red lines and that the Iranian entire system is united on demanding the lifting of the blockade. That is a very, very clear demand. The Iranians have also repeatedly said that they will not negotiate with Witkoff and Kushner. Now, everything that is being reported is time delayed out of Pakistan for security reasons, like the movements of people and arrivals and departures. So we don't really know if Mr. Arakchi is still in Pakistan or not, because what we are seeing is sort of a delayed telecast, again, for security reasons. So right now, all we know is that Iran has said they will not negotiate with these people. Jeremy Scahill has written, I think, probably the most comprehensive note about what the Iranians actually think of the negotiators who are being sent. And I'm going to read that. So this is Jeremy Scahill of Dropsite. He's done some fantastic reporting on Iran and has been interviewing as many people directly as possible. And he writes, some thoughts on the current state of play on Iran. The next 48 hours will tell us a lot about the diplomatic realities of the Iran standoff. There is no question it is the US that is seeking direct talks right now, not Iran. Tehran remains firm in its demand that the US naval blockade be lifted as a condition to move forward. If that happens, a formal second round of top-level direct talks can happen, Iran says. So this is an indication they don't consider Witkoff and Jared Kushner to be top level. On Friday, the US announced it would dispatch Witkoff and Kushner to Islamabad to try to force the Iranians into semi-formal talks, while Foreign Minister Abbas Agrachi is in Pakistan. The Iranians have total disdain for Witkoff and view him as both ignorant of diplomatic processes and totally worthless in his understanding of technical issues. Kushner is viewed by Iran as Israel's man at the table. Iran does not see any reason to deal with these two without a figure like J.D. Vance present. Whether Agrachi would participate in a meeting with them or proximity talks or some secret meeting is unclear, though Iran says for now it is not happening. Iran is not only focused on the US talks, it also engaged in a parallel track of talks with strategic allies including Russia and China, as well as Oman, longtime mediator trusted by Tehran. Iran still believes that it is likely the US and Israel will resume the war and has indicated it has prepared new forms of retaliatory strikes. And he goes on. He posted this about 3 hours ago, so not so long ago. Meanwhile, what we're hearing is that there is a huge armada that is arrayed against Iran. Now with 30,000 troops aboard 3 ships. But we're also hearing and seeing photographs of photos coming out of the USS Abraham Lincoln. So Midas Touch has posted about an hour ago, show service members receiving minimal food portions as reports grow that some troops have lost significant weight and aren't receiving care packages while the Pentagon denies any shortages. Midas Touch is quoting Newsweek and is showing photographs of the food rations and doesn't look good at all. for troops that are actually going to have to fight. So as the old adage goes, armies march on their stomachs. So the New York Times is reporting something which everybody should know. The State Department is saying that new green cards, or rather Homeland Security is saying that green cards interviews will now involve fealty to Israel. Basically, that if you haven't shown fealty or stayed silent about Israel's genocide and have expressed any kind of concern, pro-Palestinian views or anti-Israel views, which are conflated with anti-Semitism, you will be denied a green card. I think this is so cynical because majority of the world at this point would have severe concerns and would express sympathy with Palestinians who are being genocided by Israel. Moreover, even more so now with what's happening in Lebanon and the Iran war. So anti-Americanism is not as much of a problem as anti-Israel. So green card holders must express fealty to a foreign country while applying for residency in the United States. Here's what the New York Times is saying. But under new guidance issued by the Trump administration, immigrants can now be denied a green card for expressing political opinions such as participating in pro-Palestinian campus protests, posting criticism of Israel on social media, and desecrating the American flag, according to internal Department of Homeland Security training materials, reviewed by the New York Times. The documents, which have not been previously reported, show how expansively the Trump administration is carrying out a directive from last August to vet green card applicants for anti-American and anti-Semitic views. So America and Israel are not different in any way. And Israel is conflated with anti-Semitism. The administration includes criticism of Israel as a potentially disqualifying factor, with the training material citing as an example of questionable speech a social media post that declares "Stop Israeli Terror in Palestine" and shows the Israeli flag crossed out. How cynical. Do we really think this administration cares about anti-Semitism? Or even Israel? What they know is that majority of the world will probably be holding anti-Israel views at this point. So, deny, deny, deny. It is part of their anti-immigrant putsch, I would say. Legal immigration should be stopped, especially from non-white countries. This is so cynical. It's almost jaw-dropping. But there you have it. So, let us see whether Witkoff and Kushner are off to Pakistan and whether Mr. Agrachi will stay in Pakistan and what happens in the next couple of hours.